everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Deep Thoughts. And today is particularly special because we are talking about Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 10, the final episode of Season 3, Part 2, and the penultimate season of the entire show. Next season will be the finale, the final season. But we will get more into that later. I kind of can't believe we're already at the end. It just as quickly as this season appeared, it is already gone. But man, what an amazing season. But, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into this thing. So we open with the discussion on how they're going to approach this new situation ahead of them, where they know what is beyond the walls, they know what's beyond the sea, and they're not sure if they should even really tell the people. And I do sort of understand where they're coming from, because if they told the people, they'd all freak out, or you don't even know what they do. They could riot, they could panic, which would lead to a riot, I suppose. But bad stuff might happen if they were to tell the subjects of Ymir that they were subjects of Ymir. And it's a little nerve-wracking, but of course Pixis is a true lord and even says, what I was thinking was, okay, if you're not going to tell them, what makes you better than the king before you? And it's true. And Pixis is a lord. He's a good man. And I appreciate that Historia also knows what's good too. She's right away like, nope, we got to tell them. We got to be totally open and honest. And that's just how it's going to be. And so they actually do tell the people that, not even just like that there's people beyond the wall. They tell them everything that's been going on, which I was genuinely shocked and pleasantly surprised with how the people handled this reaction. We do get this sort of scene where they're talking with, I believe, the newsies. They all have tea and they're talking with the people who run the news, run the paper, basically just filling everybody in on what's been going on. And it's a really interesting discussion because they actually have the point of they ask what's been going on, how have people been reacting. And while I thought, maybe they'll riot, maybe they'll blah, 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 but it's actually more, I think, real, where half the people believe it and are just sort of okay, well, hot damn. And the other half are that is one crazy conspiracy theory you're throwing out there. That seems kind of ridiculous. And then there's a couple people who are what? That's nonsense. I don't believe that for a second. There's people who think it's conspiracy theory, people who think it's just horse shit. And then you have a couple people who actually believe it. And I appreciate that the Hanji and Levi are just cool, well, I don't care. My job was to get the information out there. That's how I get paid. So I don't care if they believe it or not, as long as they're not starting a riot, as long as they're not, being insane, then I don't really care what they believe, which is kind of neat. But we do see the one dude who, I think they're in charge of the paper. We see the one dude just go so what the hell happens now? Now we thought that the Titans were the biggest problem, but now there's a whole other group of people who are coming with possibly more Titans. We are so screwed. And they think that we're devils. They think about us the way that we thought about the Titans. What the hell is going to happen? And hearing that, I sort of just nodded while sipping on my hot water, because I can't even have tea right now because my stomach is still in pain, if you saw the previous video. But I was sitting there just kind of nodding yep, this situation is a lot more complicated than I think any of us anticipated. And we get to the funeral, and I have thoughts on this scene, but I do want to start off by saying Hitch arrived. That was fun. I was happy to see Hitch again, and of course I was she's going to want to know what happened to Marlowe. And that's when we get Flock. Now, Flock is a character who I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt, but now, see, I thought when Bert died that I was well, Bert is my most least liked character. I stand corrected. Flock is Bert 2.0. I didn't like Bert. I thought Bert was sort of just, I don't know, I just didn't like him. I thought he was spineless. Flock, I actively don't like. I really, really don't like Flock. Bert was spineless. Flock is a hypocrite. I do get where he's coming from. I understand what he's saying. Counterpoint, Armin was chosen because he has the capability to become the next Erwin. Now, mind you, they didn't know at the time that injecting yourself with the serum would actually shorten your lifespan. They didn't know that. They thought that Armin had the potential to be Erwin going forward, not to mention Erwin gave his all and then some. Let the man rest. Did they think with their emotions? Yes, it was an emotional moment. Were they still being rational by picking Armin? Abso-friggin-lutely. Not to mention, Flock calling everybody childish was hilarious. When he's pulling this crap at a funeral like a total brat, which is what he calls Eren. Flock really gets under my skin. Flock is the type of dude who thinks he knows what's good. Like, he thinks he knows what's good, but people like Pixis actually know what's good. Flock is an idiot. He's an idiot. He's a douche. I'm hoping he dies really soon. Seriously, this character gets under my skin. You know, like especially here when I'm like, you're at a funeral for my husbando and the many people like Marlo who died. You mind keeping your shitty opinions to yourself, my boy? I hope Flock dies next season. I hope it's brutal. Flock is such a friggin' loser. Apologies if you like Flock, but I don't. I will say though, Eren's visions are really starting to wear this dude down. I'm very concerned for Eren going forward because he's approaching this sort of, and Game of Thrones fans, tell me he's not reaching the three-eyed raven levels of zoned out. Like he's in like different, he's at different points in like Titan Shifter's history, and he's just like, yes, this is where they took the Eldians and threw them off the yes, this man was, leave him, he is a patriot, he is one of us, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he is 2 seconds away from turning to like one of the characters and just like, Armin, you're a good man. Like, just like, you're exactly where you needed to be. Like, he's reaching that brand level of like, okay, Eren, need you to calm down. I'm worried about Eren. I'm worried. He's reaching like a zoned out three-eyed raven level. I'm concerned for my boy. His mental health is not in a good place right now. And you'd think like in this moment we'd have this like joyous like, oh my god, they made it to the ocean, everything's great and dandy and everything's fine, and the reactions were just friggin' beautiful. Seeing my boy see the ocean, my son, my Armin seeing the ocean, knowing like, Eren, holy crap, I was right. And like Mikasa doing that adorable like little like eep, like when she like steps into the water and they look at each other and they have this moment of like, oh my god, it's the ocean, oh my god, and everybody's happy. And then in comes Eren to murder the mood. Eren, I love you, my boy, but maybe this could have waited. Eren really is Bran, like just killing moods left and right. The only thing the only thing he's missing is the spaced out look, but he pretty much has that down pat right now. Like, but you know, at the same time, Eren is right. Like, because he thought like once we get to the ocean, I thought whatever was beyond it would be freedom, but what's beyond it is more enemies. And so what? We're supposed to kill them? What happens after them? And it's true, like, after we kill them, is there freedom? Is there ever going to be freedom? Probably not. It's some heavy, heavy stuff. It's a really brutal ending. Bittersweet, for sure. It's an interesting way to end the penultimate season and what is likely the final season from Studio Wit, which I just got chills thinking about it. It's damn. Like, it leaves you with this sort of like, we made it, yay, but you also have this dread of like, okay, we made it, but what's coming next? Like what happens now? And it's, I don't know. What I will say though is Shinzo Sasageyo for the next season. Gotta devote your heart, sacrifice your heart for next season, because man, it's gonna be wild. I don't know what's coming. I don't know which studio is gonna have the balls to take up the mantle that Wit has left behind, but I am excited. And also my dog is excited. Can you hear her barking? That's how excited she is for next season. I also wonder what the significance of the crab shell was meant to be. I don't really have any idea. I mean, obviously it's meant to represent, like, you know, they made it to the ocean, herp-de-der. But, like, maybe the shell itself is meant to mirror the walls, and the fact that there's no crab in there meant, like, they broke out of the walls. There's no, like, hermit crab living inside. Maybe he left the walls of his shell. I don't know. I'm reaching with this one. I'm not super sure. I don't really know what the significance of the crab shell or the seashell was meant to be. I'm gonna leave this one to you guys. I'm very curious. I probably should ask my boys over at Anime Uproar. Gozen and Animac probably actually know what the significance of the shell is meant to be, but I don't want spoilers. But I will go ahead and tell you guys to check out their videos, because top tier. But on that note, everybody, that's all my thoughts on the finale to Season 3 Part 2 of Attack on Titan. Man, it's been a trip. I don't know. I'm really gonna miss this show. I'm really gonna miss this show under the guide of Studio Wit. I don't know how I'm feeling. Good, I guess. Like the season was amazing. I'm just, I feel like Aaron. I'm excited, but I'm just worried about, like, I'm more like Armin, I guess. Like, I'm happy that we got to the finale. I'm happy where we were, but I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried about what's to come, but I'm hopeful at the same time. But hey, everybody, I would happily give this episode, I'd give this episode a B+, but I will happily give this season a strong A to a light A+. Like, this season as a whole was incredibly impressive, and yeah, just round of applause. Studio Wit crushed it. But with that said, everybody, that's gonna wrap up today's video. So if you enjoyed it, then hitting that like button, sharing the video around on the internet, that would be super rad of you. And if you're new here and you want to check out more from me, then by all means go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to join the good ones. And as always, before we go, I have to give a big shout out to the good folks over on Patreon, namely those in the Earl Grey tier: Dominic, Urza, No For Nothing, Maria Teresa, Omner Garamond, Opinionated Slime, Shadow Creative, Sipco Games, Tristan, and Veridon. Thank you all so much for your continued support. It really means the world to me. And until our next meeting, you stay rad and don't scary.